Welcome, students, to Monk Meditation, the show about monks in the world of Warcraft.
Blackrock Foundry has been released. How is your spec faring? We're going to discuss Gruul, and the all-monk raids are back, coming up on Monk Meditation, episode 41.
Here's your host, Chai T.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Monk Meditation, the show all about monks in the world of Warcraft. Today we're going to be talking about Blackrock Foundry and how your spec's faring, and not all is well. But let's check in with tonight's host on how WoW is now. Win.
Storm. Earth.
And fire!
Daikatsu, sir, how are things going for you?
We've officially started raiding Blackrock Foundry. Can you imagine that? We've been sitting here waiting for 2 months. Oh my god, I can't wait. I'm tired of ogres. You know what we haven't seen in a while? Orcs.
Yeah, but you're completely right.
And
Boats and Hosen is currently 4 of 10 heroic after struggling for almost an entire night on Ore Gorger because we had no idea what the hell we were doing for about 2 hours. And then once we figured out what we were doing, we didn't have enough time to fix it until the following day. But we got him down, and 4 of 10 heroic is nothing to sneeze at, considering we are completely skipping normal this time.
All right. Air, sir. Going to our other Windwalker across the pond. How are things going, sir?
Windwalker this week. So it's been nice. I've discovered pet battling. Finally, I got tired of the bright exclamation point in my garrison, so I decided to finally go unlock my menagerie, and now WoW came on, has me by the soul. I have lists, I have catch lists and what to fight against too, and it's been great. But then I had to put it on hold because Blackrock is here. So our paladin tank was out for the last week because she was moving cross-continent, and that meant that the only one who had a proper tank spec was me. And what that meant was I had to Brewmaster normals. So we went 9 of 10 normal this week. Got to phase 3 a couple times on Blackhand. Very cool. But I don't know what it's like to DPS these fights right now. It's interesting. I'm a Brewwalker. That's what I like to say. But we did it the hard way. We did Blast Furnace as our third boss.
Oh, yeah. That's
we did. That's what we did.
You mean the one the devs said they don't expect you to do after the first 2?
Yeah, exactly. We did it, and we did it. We spent about total of 10 polls total, I think. So I was pretty excited for that overall. So if we had another week doing normals, we get Blackhand, but Heroics is coming week. That's where the real fun begins. That's where I go back to wind walking. I'm very excited.
Well, since we're a Brewmaster heavy episode, I guess, let's go over to Guanshu and see how his mic is doing.
I hope my mic's doing fine.
Because it's like right in front of your face.
Oh, sorry. I'm just trying to make everything sound really good. Anyways,
Yes.
So I do have some sad news for people. This is kind of my official announcement. I'm not going to really be hosting anymore. I am on a WoW hiatus, primarily due to work, which I think keeps happening to every Brewmaster that's been out there. Right now, my normal raid time and the times that I might end up at work kind of conflict. So I won't be able to really come here and give you guys my expert opinions and disprove LeBlue as often as I do. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be a part of the community. I still will be in the chat room every week, and I'll be working on, kind of the production end, helping out, Chai T there. Man, I'm like forgetting my words. I had played, I think probably was right around the last episode where I stopped playing for a little bit. My subscription is not paid for at the moment just because I haven't had any time to play at all. But I wanted to come in and talk to you guys and kind of say, goodbye on this end, but I'll still be around for the community. I love the community. I love the monk, and as soon as my timing and my work and everything kind of gets back together, then you're going to see me more and hear from me about monks even more.
All right. Well, that's sad news. Well, we're definitely going to miss you, and thank you so much for being a part of the show, hosting it. Look forward to not having to click everything every single time coming up in the next show. So hopefully Guanshu will be an excellent producer for it. So look forward to that. Going over to more sad, the Blue.
Oh, am I sad?
We'll be
I'm going Prop
about
Paladin.
Wait,
No,
what?
just kidding. So, as the now unopposed brewmaster of the show, because we brought a backup, which is me.
Air
I
will
am the
oppose
backup.
you still.
Because the brewmaster slot is cursed.
Yes.
Yep. So we brought it back up. We're good. So we started off the week with heroic. We one-shot Hans and Franz, and then did Flamebender, got her down after about an hour of wiping, and then Cro-Mag we wiped to for about 2 hours. And the next night we came in and threw out 7 healers at it with our 30-man instead of 6 healers and killed it. And then we got about 4 more bosses down, the easier bosses. And then the last night of our raiding we went and we cleared out normal. So we've done all normal, we've done 7 of heroic. This week we'll probably cut some fat and hopefully finish up heroic so we can get started on our mythic progression for Blackrock Foundry.
Awesome. Best
So-
of luck to you.
Oh, and as a random aside, not so random, we found a way to break Korag Mythic when we were playing with it, and we almost killed him in 3 pulls. So, hooray!
What?
Yep, brewmastering.
Yay, Brewmaster.
Don't worry about it.
Suddenly, air is interested.
No, I need to worry about it. This is just in case someone is gone. I have to be ready to throw the beer. I have to be ready to spill a pint for a mate or two, you know?
Yeah, it's officially premeditated strategy. If we can't kill a boss, we throw more healers at it until it happens. As I see, 7 healers in the dojo. So that is the official strategy. We'll throw healers at it till it dies.
Yep. Well,
It worked for Zap Brannigan and the Killbots.
yeah, speaking of throwing healers at it, Rolling Thunder, we've got 12 people right now. We're still trying to recruit, and apparently all of the druids are stealthing right now. They don't exist. But we went into Blackrock, and we were doing normals, and we cleared Gruul, no problem. I heard the horror stories of Orgorger, and I can't help but pronounce it that way for some reason. And so we skipped that, went to Beastlord, 2 or 3 polls on him, and then we went to Hans and Franz and found out we don't have a brewmaster. This sucks. So,
Warrior plus Paladin equals wipe.
yes. That was horribly bad. That was terrible. So we went, and our warrior's actually interested in switching over to a brewmaster because our monk slot opened up because Duke decided to abandon his spot and go to a DK.
Wait, what?
Wait, huh?
Huh? Is that allowed?
What's wrong with Death Knights?
Aren't you like the raid leader and you tell people what to play? Isn't that how this game works?
Not with
Right,
me.
LeBlue? Aren't I right? Aren't I right?
Well, it's just funny because at the time I made the decision, we had like an overload on the leather slot. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden I said, yeah, I'm going to play DK. And like a week later, Chai's the only one with leather.
Yeah. I
It was
did
an
not
elaborate
plan it
plan.
that way. I swear to God,
It
I
was an
didn't.
elaborate plan. Don't let him believe it. Don't let his bald head just blind you to what's going on here. It's
Now, my baby DK still, he's like 646. He's coming up and all, but for the most part, I've been raiding on Daikatsu for the actual progression stuff. So,
Yeah.
and I do have a up-to-date Brewmaster off-spec, which just a show of hands, everyone that has a Brewmaster spec on their tune.
I have 2.
God damn it. I've got a brewmaster level 90.
I have 2 level 100 brewmasters.
That might have counted 6 months ago.
Yeah, I need to level that guy up. Other chai tea. But anyways, we got what, 2 of 7? Or no, how many bosses
Yeah,
are there?
we
10?
only got
10?
Darmak and Gruul, if I remember
Right.
correctly, and then we wiped to
Yeah.
we gonna pump you up as we cross your
We
tanks.
wiped to Hans and Franz about 4 times, and you decided, okay, it's been fun. Let's
Heroic
go into
Yeah, so we went to
Heroic
Heroic
Heimal
Heimal.
and get everyone their 15th heroic boss kill so that they start getting mythic caches. And sure enough, mythic caches are starting to appear.
Yep.
Like magic.
Yep, and we got 4 bosses down in just under an hour, which is fantastic. And we got our
Nice.
Brewmaster drops out of 3 of the 4 of the bosses. So raised him up about 14 item levels. So we should get him in, hopefully, this next time. Then Hans and Franz will just laugh at, we'll be like a lol shuffle. Okay. Well, now
That's
to
what I
keep
do.
your spirits up while the world changes around you, in.
The sky is falling! The sky is falling!
Uplift. Don't worry, I'm sure it happens to other monks too.
6.1 is around the corner. We see it now preloading on people's systems. There is a long maintenance today, but no official announcement, so we don't believe that it's coming out tomorrow. I, however, would not be terribly surprised if it did. That would put a nice pinch on those mythic raiders. Like, oh shit, we had a whole scheme lined up, and that goes out the window.
Be fun, exciting.
Yes, it would be
Change it up.
exciting. Yes, but we don't think that's going to happen. However, it's coming soon, and there was one nerf so far since the last show. Chi Explosion in Crane Stance is getting nerfed by about 33% for the heal part of it, not the damage. And as Monkio says, well, I guess it's Pool of Mists all the time again. Yay. Chi Explosion has been doing some interesting things in Heimal, particularly Mythic Butcher. There have been some really interesting logs indicating someone will just go jab, 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 Chi Explosion, rinse, lather, repeat, and beat out everybody and do like 70k heals per second.
Working as intended.
Completely fair and balanced. I see nothing wrong with this. Continue on with your day, kind sirs and ladies.
Yep. So that's getting nerfed, which I think is sad because outside of that niche little area, it's fine, I think.
Hey, just going based off of Windwalker monks in Heimal, they've nerfed you guys because of one fight, and they've done it in the correct fashion that makes complete sense.
Yes, they know what they're doing.
Yes. They know exactly what they're doing.
Stab, 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 stab.
All right. Well, that's really all there is in the uplift section. So now it's now it's time to impart some tips and tricks for those raiding monks in.
Fists of Fury. It's go time.
Yeah, not much in the way of news this week, so we're going to go in to discuss Gruul, the first boss of Blackrock Foundry, or one of 3 first bosses in Blackrock Foundry, and give you some
One of
tips.
the first bosses.
Right. Give you some tips and tricks on how to take care of that, or how to cheese the meters even more and make yourself impressive. So, Brewmasters, let's go to you. Who wants to go first?
I'll take this one
All
first
right.
here. So for Gruul, it's pretty simple. Overwhelming blows, just kind of fan yourself with them. They're not next to you, but more seriously, you want to use guard before every Inferno Slice. If you're just taunting the boss into the group, you won't really have any resolve, so your guards won't be that big. They'll only be roughly 3/4 of your instead of the full 200% of your health pool or whatever silliness it gets to nowadays. So the later ones, just make sure you have a little something extra, whether that's you Zen Medding or Dampen Harm, which is really good, which is in the talent section. You can also, in an emergency, this is for normal and heroic, mind you, it doesn't work so well on mythic. You can solo soak with Zen Meditation, and you can also do it with a large guard and diffuse magic if for some reason you don't take Dampen Harm. If you aren't just having the other tank taunt him straight into the group and then you taunt back or vice versa, you can use Transcendence and roll to very quickly move back and forth without ever risking overwhelming blows, as I watch my co-tank just scurry over to the other side and barely make it out, or sometimes clip melee with overwhelming blows. It's very helpful. Use your mobility. We have it. Mm-hmm. And Adam, if you want to do the talents real quick, they're pretty Nothing crazy.
Well, I would. Why don't you go ahead? Just because I haven't done Gruul because of my situation. So, I will let people know whether or not I agree with you at the end.
Okay.
In theory,
because
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So first up, Dampen Harm. It will help you absorb all 3 Inferno Slashes, or at least 2 of the 3. If you don't time it exactly perfect. So you can, the first one you guard and you laugh at it. The second one you Dampen Hard and then guard and laugh at it. And the third one you have a Dampen Harm stack. You guard and you laugh at it. Do you, Adam?
I agree.
Okay. And then level 90, Xuen, because single target, even with Chi Torpedo buffs coming, Xuen. As fun as it is to spin him around, roundy round, where does he go? Will your melee get hit? Nobody knows. Don't recommend it. And then your level 100 talent, whichever you're comfortable with. If you're initially coming up to it, go for Serenity. But if you're comfortable with it, go Chi Explosion, because LOL Monk.
Wow, you are spot on today. Spot on.
Thank you for your approval, Adam. It means the world to me.
All right, so for Mistweavers, Transcendence can be used on the Petrify stage in one of 2 ways. You can either set it up beforehand to get out of the group immediately if you have problems noticing that you're getting petrified. You do get rocketed up in the air, so you really shouldn't have a problem with this, but if you do, you can use it that way. How I tend to use it is as soon as I get rocketed up in the air, I hit Transcendence to drop my clone there, roll out of the way, and as soon as it goes off, I Transcendence back, so less downtime. That's especially useful for the Windwalker part of it, which I'm sure someone will go over. Now, this fight is fairly decent for fist weaving, depending on your composition, on your healing comp. You can put your statue with the other group and just go ham on the boss, just start smacking them with everything you got. And besides random cave-ins, you have some time to get the other half back up before the Inferno Slice hits them again. So fist weaving actually is a really decent opportunity here. I think I was fist weaving for probably about half the fight before the healing started getting a little too intense and switched over to mist weaving. So depending on your raid comp, if you're heavy healers, I would go Chi Explosion on this one because you are stacked up for the most part on your half, so you're getting a lot of usage out of Chi Explosion. Otherwise, just go Pool of Mist. That's the normal strat there. Dampen Harm, as LeBlue mentioned, is fantastic. All those Inferno Slices coming in are physical, and you're going to be able to clip 2 of them, get 2 of your charges out before it resets.
Hey, Chai, I'm going to correct you here real quick.
Yes.
The raid splitting part is fire damage, actually.
Is it?
The physical part is tanks, is the target of it. The fire part
God,
of it
I looked at
actually,
that and it was physical.
There's 2 parts of it. There's the physical swing to it, and then there's also the fire part that gets split by the raid. So, and then the dot that comes afterwards.
Okay, so diffuse magic then. Never mind me. Yeah, diffuse magic would
Well,
probably be...
Dampen Harm can still do 2 of them, though. So even though it's not 90%, you can still do 50% reductions on 2 of them, which can, depending how your group does it, be very important if you take multiple soaks instead of back and forth.
Okay,
So
yeah.
there's that.
Okay. Most of the time you're going to go back and forth, though, so... I guess whichever one you have, and if you forget to change your talents, you'll be okay. There you go. Let's see. Chi Burst is the tier 30 one I go with, just because you're nice and perfectly lined up with your other team most of the time. So you should be able to hit everybody but the tanks with Chi Burst every time, which is nice. And, of course, Xuen as single target, not much movement on this fight, really good one to get your team topped off. If your mana can sustain it, if you have a good enough spirit pool, Rushing Jade Wind's not a bad option here either. You're stacked up with your team a good chunk of the time, so feel free to go with that. Okay, and going with Windwalkers. Who wants first?
I'll take the first part.
All right.
Probably a good idea.
Don't use Transcendence to move away. Just run away, make sure your range meter's up, get petrified, and then use Transcendence to go back to the boss.
Yep.
Because it saves you that time that you need to move, and you just start just hitting him again. So if you're going to use Transcendence, and you really should, use it to get back to your initial position, as long as the group hasn't wandered off in some random direction because there might be a cave-in going on, or they just kind of get lost and saw something shiny. The other thing, Touch of Karma is really nice for Inferno Slices, but if you're doing Dampen Harm for the big hit, don't use Touch of Karma until until the dot starts showing up, because there's two components of the slice, right? There's the physical hit, and then there's the long-lasting fire dot. And you kind of want to have one for either. But really, that's all you're really worried about in this fight. This fight is very, very simple and kind of even a little boring for the DPS.
Yep. All right, Air?
Yeah. Well, talented-wise, this is it's a single target fight, so you want to use Serenity. If you're looking to keep that fire damage down, maybe you go Diffuse Magic, but it's these bigger hits that you probably want to worry about, especially because they're supposed to hit pretty hard, especially probably come Heroic, come Mythic. I know for Brewmaster's Dampen Harm really wasn't triggering on this fight for much just because it wasn't hitting hard enough. But if you use Dampen Harm, it's 45 seconds. Time it right before a slice, and you should be able to get 2. If you mistime it, maybe you only get 1. There's just that much time in between the slices. And Zuin, again, you don't need anything from the other talents. Because 6.1, that's when you get the healing roll thing. What's that called?
G Torpedo?
G-Torpedo, yeah. That can be any good eventually.
It will be good, but not on this fight.
Not this fight, because the last thing you want to do is Chi Torpedo and you're in the other team and you get hit with an Infernal Slice.
Yeah, that would be bad news bears.
That would be.
Yeah.
Yep.
So honestly, just Schwen. Just Magical Kitty at the beginning while Hero's active. Magical Kitty about 3 minutes later. Use your pot. Time it to her with some trinket procs.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be happy.
One thing I noticed with the Windwalker in this fight, though, I've done on normal and heroic now, is it's really hard to use Touch of Karma and Dampen Harm on a reactive basis, saying, "Oh, Inferno Slice is getting cast. I should hit this now." The timer is always exactly accurate on DBM, so have it as soon as that timer is right about to come up. That's when you hit it. Because otherwise,
you can see him cast it.
Yes, you can see
There's
him
a
cast
3-second cast.
I mean, it's a pretty significant 3-second cast. You can see it coming.
Right, if you're watching his cast bar. Otherwise, he turns and faces you at the very last second. So, I just noticed. I noticed that myself, that it's hard to hit that on a reactive basis. So, have it open.
I have Quartz for target bars, because when we're talking about Ore Gorger, you have to hit that interrupt right as he's casting a 0.7 second cast.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
I've
you
got
should
that
have-
up as well.
For
yeah.
other fights, you should have your target cast bar up in a pretty visible area where you're going to go, crap, hit the button. So, you should just be training yourself for Gruul. If you see the cast bar up, it's the only cast bar he has. So if you see the cast bar up, hit something.
Does Overhead Smash have a cast bar?
Overhead Smash is something he just does
Yeah,
constantly.
he'll face a direction, you'll see his cast bar, and he'll just like, yeah, and smash.
So is there a cast bar? Because all I ever see is he does the rumbly thing, and
Right.
that's it.
Yeah.
There's a
Anyways,
cast to it.
that was just a tip I had
Off
from
topic.
playing it. So, yep. All right. Any other tips and tricks for Gruul?
Yeah, if you have certain people in your raid you don't like priests or warlocks, you can totally use overwhelming blows to kill them, and nobody will be sad about it.
Or rogues. I like to aim for the rogues.
Yep.
Just because you killed them doesn't mean they won't get loot.
Yeah.
Well, depending on your raid leader.
All right. Now, time for really fun chat and conversation, and it's time to meditate and expand our knowledge in
Transcendence.
All right, today we're going to talk State of the Monk Blackrock Edition. As we move into Blackrock Foundry with 6.1 around the corner, we're going to take a look at how monks are now on each of the specs and see where we stand. And it's not all good news. Let's go first to Brewmaster, where it is all good news.
Depending on how you see it, anyway.
Right.
I have probably the saltiest, overpowered class there's ever
Wonderful
been.
news.
It's weird. But let's start with an interesting thing. I just did a quick look on Warcraft logs. So initially, if you looked at Warcraft logs back in High Mall Heroic when it first jumped up, Brewmasters had the least amount of parses out of any of the tank classes. Even Guardian Druids were beating them by a pretty significant amount of parses. If you go back and look after this first week of Heroic Blackrock Foundry, Guardians have now fallen behind, and Brewmasters are now climbing up there, now officially gunning for the DK and Prop Paladin spots. So there's more Brewmasters, at least Brewmasters that are logging. Hooray! We have better class representation, which is something that we've kind of been struggling with for a while now. And we can thank the buffs and Blackrock Foundry's catering to all of Monk mechanics and our ability to deal with them proficiently while our other tank brethren struggle. But going onwards, so right now as it stands for Blackrock Foundry, Brewmaster's primary mitigation, which is Stagger and Guard, are incredibly well tailored to handling pretty much any mechanic in Blackrock Foundry that other tanks would look at. They go, okay, I need to pop my shield wall. The Monk looks at it and goes, oh, okay, I don't need to do, I'll expel harm after it. Yeah, that'll be good. Or, oh, I'll guard it. That'll be good. We've also got, obviously, our tier, our 75 tier, which has a 90% magic reduction, 3 big hit reductions by 50%, or 15% heal on an 18-second cooldown, which allow us, again, to tailor very specifically to certain encounters, like dampen harm on Gruul or Gorger, or diffuse magic on something that can't come to my head right now, or healing elixirs, which is fantastic. The biggest thing, though, with the class is that Stagger is very unique among all the tank classes as it stands right now, because we have the most consistent damage reduction mitigation, if you cooldown, if you will, I guess, that's always up all the time. It works on anything that is tagged physical. And this disparity really shows itself more in some of the fights where warriors can't block it and their shield barrier is pitiful. Like it's like when shield barrier goes up, it looks up to guard and goes, that's what I want to be someday. And it never will be, because Blizzard won't let it happen after what happened in Siege of Orgrimmar. But Shield of the Righteous is the closest thing in that it's similar in its damage reduction, but the uptime is not near as consistent. And certain things that prevent tanks from doing anything so that they can defend themselves, like currently, not until, well, it'll be fixed in 6.1, but Hans and Franz suplex. Right now, Paladin has to either build up a bunch or pop a big cooldown to survive it or have externals thrown on them. A Brewmaster, on Heroic, we killed it, and I literally forgot, and I had no timers or nothing, and didn't even realize I was getting suplexed half the time, and didn't even call for cooldowns, and I survived. My warrior got one shot 3 times, and I ended up solo tanking the last, like, 20% or so, because it's just how our mitigation is. It's always up, it always works, and it's proving to be very potent in this particular tier out of all of them, and not sure how much y'all paid attention to where your Stagger was sitting in Siege of Orgrimmar, but we're already back at that point before Mythic Blackrock Foundry. LeBlue sits at about 57 raid buffed Stagger right now before enchants. I'm sitting closer to 59 with enchants, which is completely ludicrous. Absolutely ridiculous that we're already there. First tier, not even Mythic first tier, not even the ability to pick specific pieces of gear that are high item level that have mastery on them, and we're there. Our mitigation right now is incredibly strong. And I foresee it staying for this tier, but I would be absolutely surprised if that didn't change for tier 18. Because right now, so long as anything is tagged physical, we are the top tank for it, bar none. There is nobody to compete with us. The fact that Guard is basically lay on hands and absorb Forn, and then some, on its own just makes us so powerful in reacting and preemptively preparing for abilities, especially with Resolve Snapshotting, which it can do. And we're not in a good place. We're in an amazing place. We're overpowered, and I worry because people get used to this, and it'll tone us back down and maybe bring other tanks back up a little bit more, and we won't know what to do. And I fear for that, like a lot of people seeing it as a knee-jerk reaction when it's something that just needs to happen at this point. Guanshu, I don't know if you have anything to really say on the topic, since I'm assuming you haven't done Blackrock Foundry yet, or at all. You said you haven't done it all, but do you have anything you want to chime in on this? No? Okay.
Hello.
Back to you, Chad.
That was weird. No, I think you kind of hit everything really well. I mean, even, kind of right before we got to the Blackrock Foundry, I was really feeling that way. And I think from what I've read, because I was prepared to move into Blackrock Foundry, I knew the fights. and I could tell that we were going to be in a good spot. And like you said, we're in an amazing spot right now. And when I come back and they've nerfed us, I'm going to have to like actually learn to tank again. I feel like
That's actually something I'm genuinely concerned about. I'm building bad habits.
Exactly.
I don't watch mechanics. I don't care. I see a cast bar and I throw up guard, and that's the end of it. We do alt runs on my paladin on lesser difficulties, and I end up dead because I'm not used to calling for external cooldowns. And it's like, oh, I usually just ignore that on my monk or a guard, and I don't care. But on my paladin, I need externals. Wait, I need to use my shield wall. What is this? A paladin? It's for my sake. It's just bad habits forming, and it's going to bite me in the butt later. And I know it's going to, so I'm trying to do what I can. My GM is actually seriously considering going double monk or raising up his Brewmaster for gear wise, so that we can go double monk for Mythic. I know there's a couple top end guilds that are going double monk for Mythic.
Yeah,
it's happening, and it's not a good state to be in.
the biggest problem that's here is that there's nothing they can do without destroying the lower end.
Correct. It's a big concern. I mean, you have two things. One is you have the tank is the scarcest of the three roles to begin with. All right. Now you have the monk is the newest class, and they're trying to lure people over to it. So there's more people playing not only monks but tanks, because that's better for your dungeon queues or even just finding those random groups. Everyone needs tanks. Not as big a deal like the higher end because they have their tanks. They have those people, or they'll kind of build them up from within usually. But you have a tank that if they don't purify ever and they are in sustained combat like a boss, it's almost like healing a rogue that has a bit of damage mitigation. Honestly, like it is like healing a rogue because they don't mitigate anything. Chi Explosion obviously can kind of play your class for you even at a lower level, and it raises the floor a little bit, and as well as raising the ceiling. I mean, Serenity completely and totally trivializes your mitigation, your active mitigation, and drives me up the wall. This will probably sound weird. The only 100 talent I enjoy is Soul Dance, because Soul Dance lets me play Brewmaster.
Right.
And I am going. Yeah. All right. I'll get into many rant. I've been ranting about this on MMOC
He's
with
literally not
ages.
stopped for about a week and a half now.
It's
Literally has not stopped talking about how
Here, I'll put it in a way.
disappointed he is with the
I will
current.
put it this way. So every time Windwalker gets nerfed, Blizzard takes it, they send it to their Diablo team, their Diablo team doubles it, and then they bring it back and they buff Brewmasters with it. That's what they did.
Yeah, but I think what everybody really wants to see right now, LeBlue, is they want to see your Soul Dance. I think that's what everyone's thinking.
I use Soul Dance on Flamebender Heroic because
No,
to
like
help our
you,
healers.
personally.
Oh. Another time, maybe. We'll see. We'll figure something out. I have been made to do the Jello pudding pop dance before because my last name is Cosby, like Bill Cosby, and I have been made to do that before. But
Nice.
I've been asked to count the number of bullets I've shot because my last name's Eastwood, so I know the feeling.
right, yeah, I feel ya. But yeah, that's my big rant on Brewmasters, and is ongoing, and I'll be interested to see what happens with the class. But for now, Brewmaster, you can't go wrong. Good choice. Good choice, team. You picked the right spec.
So
Congratulations.
state of the monk Brewmaster. Good.
Overpowered.
Yes.
Good is
Too
not
good.
enough. Too good.
All right, and we'll just go down the line. Mistweaver. Let's talk Mistweaver. Not overpowered. I think in an excellent spot, however. There are a couple of statistics that have come from Warcraft logs that I would like to discuss. The first one is similar to the one LeBlue mentioned, number of parses. And we are second. We are actually the lowest in terms of class. So there are fewer people parsing higher end Mistweaver than any other class. We are beating out Holy Priests, but that's because Disc is so stupidly overpowered. And that was the other statistic is the...
Even after the 15% power word shield nerf, they're still like, lol, shield.
Yeah,
It absorbs. Every semi-serious to hardcore raid team will have a Holy Paladin and a Disc Priest. At least
Because
one of each.
absorbs. Yep.
They're too good. They're both good at what they do.
Yep. And that was the metric is in terms of HPS, Disc Priest way above everybody else. But then the nice part is Paladins and Druids and Monks are all neck and neck, right on top of each other, which I think
Basically,
is fantastic. And then you have Holy Priests underneath us, and then Shamans like way down the bargain basement.
They're sweeping the floor.
Right. Shamans are not in a good spot. But I think it is now time to absolutely revive the hashtag NerfDisc. So bring that back.
We thought Warlords had solved it, didn't we?
Yep.
We were all happy and everything else because, yay, Disc is now in line. We can heal the model they're talking about. They want to, the actual, well, you're not going to be topped off the whole time. So, shields don't really matter. No, you're topped off the whole damn time.
Well,
So long as there is small group content, Disc Priests can never be balanced where they need to be. Thus, Disc Priests will always be overpowered.
yep.
They need to fix the shield so that it goes back to what it used to be, where you had either a physical or a magic absorption shield. And they just need to go, okay, Disc Priest, magic shield all the time. Oh, physical damage? You're going to have to cast an actual heal for that one.
Yeah. That would make things interesting. So the nice thing is that Blackrock Foundry is a very versatile instance. Lots of different types of mechanics. There's stack fights, there's spread fights, there is mobility fights, there is stay put fights like Gruul. And so because of this, Mistweavers are in a really good spot because our toolkit is extremely versatile. So if it's a mobility fight, we have we have our Renewing Mists and Uplift to keep things going, and we have for stack fights we have Rushing Jade Wind and Chi Explosion and things like that to keep things going. So no matter what the fight is, we can build our toolkit around that and still do okay in some fights and friggin' phenomenal in other fights. And so because of that, I think we're actually in a really good spot moving forward into Blackrock. Now, we're still lacking a solid cooldown, but I am not hearing Revival is useless anymore. I'm not hearing that argument. So Revival has come into the minds of raid leaders saying, okay, this is actually something we can use, and it's powerful, it's strong. Using Revival is a really good cooldown. It's just not as good as other ones, not as much utility. So I think we're still lacking a little bit in our toolkit there. But overall, I'd say State of the Monk, Mistweaver, good. We're doing okay. And let's go down the line even further into the basement.
I just want to interject real quick before we jump to Windwalkers.
Yes,
So, if you remember, back in beta, there was a lot of freaking out about the viability of Mistweavers.
Yes.
Would you say that was completely unfounded, and they did an okay job making that transition? Like, are you still worried, or do you think that they fixed what needed to be fixed for Blackrock so far, at least in the initial outlook?
So right now we're doing okay, and this is before 6.1. We're getting, except for Crane Stance getting nerfed a little bit, we're getting buffs, and
the Manatee nerfs.
And Manatee nerfs, that's true. Manatee is going to be a little weird, but right now Manatee is overpowered in a sense. I think there was one fight when we were doing Beast Lord that I kind of ran out of mana and was like, I'm actually out. I have to use a mana potion. What the hell is this?
Is Manatee overpowered, or is the ability to generate a large quantity of it in Crane Stance overpowered? It's probably
that's probably more accurate because I didn't
easily the latter.
I didn't spend that much time in Crane Stance and Beast Lord because there is a lot of healing that has to go out during that fight. And so, I think it's the ability in Crane Stance to do that, which the Spirit change is going to fix a little bit. But there's also a lot more fist weaving opportunities I'm seeing in this tier. And so the nerf to Mana T, making it be by spirit, plus more fist beaming opportunities might be a wash. We're gonna have to see how that goes, and I'm gonna be intrigued to see how that happens. But right now, monks are a little overpowered in the mana department, and as spirit gets going, and I'm interested to see if they're gonna keep it three times spirit or go to 4 times spirit or somewhere in between. I'm hoping like 3.3, 3.4, something like that. That'd be really nice. But we will see how that goes. But I think they did an okay job, especially from where we were in beta. Beta was a really bad spot, but they changed things enough where I think we're right about where we should be. I don't think we're really overpowered or underpowered at this point. We have a couple of fights and a couple of niche encounters. Butcher, I'm looking at you, where we can just destroy and wipe the floor with everybody. But I think that's the same for every class. There are certain encounters that you're going to be incredibly overpowered on. So,
for certain instances, that you're going to be incredibly overpowered for.
Right. So I think right now in a good spot. So let's talk Windwalker.
Yep.
Air, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of fun playing Brewmaster this week because I think only on Blackhand was I ever really in danger of dying, which says a lot about that spec. It's fun to play, it's easy to play. I felt good playing it. This week I get to delve back into Windwalking, and I'm excited. It's, even for me, as a generally optimistic guy, perhaps you've noticed this every now and then.
That's why I like you.
I hear all my friends. I hear my Twitter followers, people in games saying, hey, what's going on with Windwalker? What's this thing happening here right now where we were the gods, as it were, at the very beginning of the expansion, you know? And look at some of these statistics now. We're not riding the top of that crested wave right now. We're not surfing the wave, even. It looks like we're like the scuba diver taking pictures inside of the wave right now. And maybe there's a shark coming to eat us. It's not good. And it makes a lot of us sad. We are crying Windwalker tears right now. You know, as it is, and as Duke probably wrote, because it sounds really nice, we're a little lost in the weeds right now. And the great highs we could achieve in early high mall, we are now solidly in the middle of the pack, if not lower middle. A moment of silence, please.
Okay,
Dude, how about you take the next one?
Hold on a second now. Hold on. Okay, so the statistic we're looking at is from 1 week of Blackrock Foundry. The top tier, we're looking at the top 50 percentile parses. And we're saying that...
Which is what you want to look at when
right,
you want to talk about what are the averages happening for all classes.
But most of these parses is coming in with high mall gear, which is horribly itemized. You're getting a few pieces coming in with with some of the Blackrock gear. But you're looking at our parses on the first week of a new tier with horribly itemized gear.
Yep.
How is this valid statistical data?
The main problem we have is that the stat that we want, multi-strike, is also the best stat for a lot of very overperforming specs, like, Enhanced Shaman. They want multi-strike too. They want it on every single piece. Unholy Decays want multi-strike. And they're performing pretty well. There's a few other specs that also want multi-strike. So yeah, multi-strike is going to make our numbers look better, but it's not going to make our numbers look better in comparison to everyone else because other specs want multi-strike as well.
Yeah, but how are their itemizations in high mall compared to leather and our trinkets?
Pretty darn good, actually.
Right. And so we're coming in with really crap itemization. A lot of mastery,
but we're not the only
much
ones
multi-strike.
with really crap itemization. And even with really solid itemization, you're not going to see a huge difference because the main issue we have We had bosses in High Mall that was like, here's a gift for Windwalkers, like Tectis and Twin Ogron and Brackenspore, where you had extended periods where Storm, Earth, and Fire was giving you a flat 35% buff on damage. And on Tectis, during the last phase, you could get it up to almost a 60%, or what was it, 55% damage boost, because you could put 3 clones out at the same time. So those are the fights that we're talking about when we're talking about this is how we overperformed, especially on Twin Ogron, which is like Storm, Earth, and Fire. If your uptime wasn't at least 99%, you were crippling your team a little. You have one boss, basically, that is really good for Windwalkers, and that's Iron Maiden, because there are ads that come out with a bit more life. Generally, when you're talking about ads like in, Operator Throngar.
Oh, okay.
Right? Those ads will come out, but they're like paper. They will go down immediately to just a couple of AoEs, and by the time you get to them, it's like, they died.
And when you got rogues and you got Ellie shamans, enhancement shamans, you got all these other guys who do this amazing AoE. There's no reason to put a
Burst
Windwalker on
AoE.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Like they do.
There's
burst
no reason
AoE.
to have us.
We have to ramp. You have another fight. The only one that might come a little bit close to what we're seeing with Twin Ogron might be Hansgar and Franzok, but one of them is gone for significant periods of time. And you're having to move around a lot. And you hope to God that your tank can keep them in a place where you can do DPS and not get squished.
Yeah.
So you're talking about fights that are mechanically not in our favor to the extent that they were in High Mall. So in High Mall, we had fights that were way in our favor. Like these were built around our toolkit, and we had awful itemization. Here we're going to have really good itemization, but not being able to exploit the mechanics we have is going to make a much bigger difference, a much bigger negative than any positive we would gain out of gear.
So is 6.1 going to not necessarily fix, but improve our situation with the more burst AoE talents fixes, Chi Torpedo and Hurricane Strike? Those are kind of our burst AoE options now, and they've been buffed significantly. And they're also pretty much free deep. Well, not in Hurricane Strikes, but Chi Torpedo is basically free DPS and healing. Is this going to fix or mitigate some of this negativity here?
Chi Torpedo is going to come in with a heavy skill requirement. Mm-hmm. It's going to be the same thing that you were doing with the two-piece for PvP, where you had to basically do a roll and jump to cancel out of it very quickly. Mm-hmm. The main problem you have is that unless the bonus of doing Chi Torpedo over and over and over again outweighs the fact that you are trying to jump and roll at the same time, you're not going to see a big boost. It may be free, but that doesn't mean it's better than jab in all cases, right? Like in something like Gruul, where you're standing still, you don't really want to be moving around a lot.
That's not a burst AoE fight, though. That's a single target fight. We're looking at...
No, that's not a burst AoE fight.
Yeah.
A good burst AoE fight would be something like Beast Lord.
Yeah.
Beast Lord Darmok, right? Where you've got the ads that are coming out at a regular clip. When we did that fight, Rushing Jadewind was my top damage producer.
That one's a bit more of a sustained AoE fight, though. There's a lot of ads that stay up for a decent amount of time. Russian Jadewind would definitely win there. But something like Operator, where the ads are dying quickly and they're not all bunched up, they're kind of more spread around, I think.
You're not going to compete to a rogue who is doing Killing Machine if they spec'd it for that one fight. You're not going to compete to an Elemental Shaman who can just kind of nuke everything around him without wondering. I mean, these guys get up almost to 100k on burst AoE. Mm-hmm. Even at our absolute best, 3 Storm, Earth, and Fires, Rushing Jadewind, all the things, jabbing with infinite energy, we're probably talking a mathematical limit of about 80.
No, I disagree with that. I've seen myself at 130, 140 before, so.
On trash, yeah.
Right.
You know, but you're not going to see it for that much because trash tends to stay up longer than Throngar trash.
Right.
That is true.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're not going to... We don't really need burst AoE. What we need are ways to kind of help fix our single target, and that's really where we're hurting. Mm-hmm. The nerf that hit Stance of the Fierce Tiger was just crippling, absolutely crippling. It was a flat 5% nerf when every single Windwalker was saying, "Look, you just got to nerf Storm, Earth, and Fire. That's it. If you nerf it down so that Storm, Earth, and Fire goes from 135 to 120%, everything would be fine because our single target was actually right on par. We were solid, middle, right where we were supposed to be for single target damage." Mm-hmm. And that's what they decided to nerf. So it's no surprise we're now kind of in the lower part of the DPS ranks.
Yeah, it's like I think we need a little bit more data before we start crying and re-rolling.
The re-rolls have started.
I know the re-rolls have started, but 2-piece and 4-piece bonus, multi-strike plays in so heavily with those, and our the multi-strike gear, we're very well itemized in Blackrock. I'm thinking after we're going to have a ramp-up period, but I think we're going to be in a much better spot. We're probably not going to be top of the pack, but I don't think we're going to be as low as we are now.
Right now, our 4-piece is simming at about a 7.5% improvement. And when you look at the same 4-piece against some of the other specs that are performing a little bit better, like Shaman, like Boomkin, like Rogues, they're talking about almost a 9 to 12% improvement.
Right. But
so even though the gear advantage is going to be there.
The 2-piece is not a linear scale, though.
No, the 2-piece is Fist of Fury generates 1 stack of Tiger Eye Brew, which is nice.
No, 4-piece.
I have it. 4-piece, I like it.
The 4-piece is, while Tiger Eye's Brew damage is active, your multi-strike damage is increased by 3% per stack of Tiger Eye Brew consumed.
Yeah, that's not a linear scale.
No, that's not a linear scale, but you're talking about roughly a 2% damage increase to 2-piece, and then the rest of that 7.5 is going up to 4-piece. Yeah. Meanwhile, everyone else is going to be much better. If a raid leader is looking at who should get these pieces of tier, hunters perform better, warriors perform better as a percentage of their DPS, as a percentage of simming high-end patchwork simcraft DPS. They will outperform us with the same 4-piece tier, so they're going to get it first.
Yeah. I just think we're going to be doing better than people think, but I'm just ever the optimist.
We probably will. Don't ever count us out.
Right.
Heimall proved it because everyone said, "Oh, forget it. Monks are kind of, no one's going to want a Windwalker on their raid team." And then here comes the fight of Heimall, and all of a sudden it's nerfed Windwalkers.
Right.
What?
One thing to keep in mind is Callie had a good post about the state of Windwalkers right now on her blog post. So if you get that in the show notes and everything like that to go read that, highly recommend it. It's not as doom and gloom as we're talking here, and it is something to keep in mind that playing a spec entirely perfectly is where we're kind of is what these sims are. So if you're a really good player, you're going to have better DPS than someone who's not a good player. It is going to be harder, definitely, to get those same numbers, but the player factor does come in there. It is demoralizing to see what was once a really good level where you were kind of you were riding the top of that wave to be somewhere else in a period of 4 months. That is a bit demoralizing, but I know some other Windwalkers you talk to, regardless of how damage is doing, and unless you're in that super top-end guild, you're going to play what is the most fun. And at least we can agree that Windwalker is still the most fun DPS, bar none.
Oh, yes.
Oh, easily.
I think that's definitely something to nail, though, is unless you are really pushing it, there is absolutely no need for you to re-roll from the spec or class if that is what you enjoy playing. Just do not re-roll because, this is the flavor of the monk class and I must play it, even though my guild is just starting heroic Heimall now. Don't do it. Play what you want to play.
And if you are going to re-roll, go Feral Druid. They're overpowered.
I mean, you will have more fun and want to stick with the game, and you will perform better playing a class that you enjoy and you want to play because you will be willing to put the time in to learn or put the time in to get better at the class than you are of, I got to go re-roll this class so I can play better.
I got my hunter up to 100. I fell asleep doing LFR.
He's not joking.
You asleep. How's that auto attack damage?
I think I still top the charts. No. Oh my god! Really, I had 6 buttons.
Like LeBlue said, we're talking. It's doom and gloom if you're at the, let's say, top 500 US, right? Which, God, I don't think any of us here are, right? I know for a fact I'm not.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So if you're looking at like maybe top 10 on your server, you're still going to have the option, depending on your server. If it's Sargeras, no. If you're top 10, holy crap, awesome. But it's not. It's cyclical, right? Everything is cyclical with this game. Eventually, we're going to be the ones back on top because we're going to get fixed, and it's going to be an overfix because Blizzard doesn't do anything by half measures. They either over-nerf you or they over-buff you every single time. Nobody's ever gotten a buff or a nerf and said, oh, that's kind of reasonable.
Yeah, even I just actually looked it up. So, one sec. I'm getting on my high horse here. As the part of the rank 386 in the U.S. guilds, premeditated. Squad, yes. I say that you play what you want to play, unless you like top 100 world.
Yeah, top 100 world is where you're re-rolling rogue.
One sec, I'm putting away my pencil mustache now. I don't need it anymore. No, seriously, just play what you want. It really, you can. If your raid leader is hammering on you, you might be in the wrong place, to be quite honest, because you will play better playing something you enjoy. Play what you like. If you like Windwalker, roll with it. See what I did there?
I see what you did there. All right. Well, any last words on the state of the monk?
Do not despair.
Yes.
The nerfs are coming.
State of the monk, Windwalker. Needs improvement.
And look, we're not feral druids.
Yes. Or assassination rogues.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about bad, go to the feral druid forums. They're slashing their wrists. It looks like warlocks.
Yeah.
We should go back and listen to the first...
Suddenly, feral druids learn life tap.
As soon as Highmall opened, replay that show in comparison to this one.
Right.
That'll be fun. That'll be interesting.
I know what I'm doing tomorrow.
All right, team, it's time to travel to the Peak of Serenity, the home for all monks in
Zen Pilgrimage.
Monks, assemble!
GG from the Anvil Mar server emailed into us at show@monkmeditation.com. He asked us the following question. I'm trying to get back into healing again and know I want to try out fist weaving as my off-spec. What I would like to know is what is the difference between that and mistweaving? Is it just as simple as a stance change, or is it a full talent tree and glyph difference? And also, what is the rotation for a fistweaver? Okay, well, the rotation is pretty simple. Jab, 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 chi explosion. No, just...
If you want to top the logs, yes, it is.
Yeah. So it's very similar to Windwalker, actually. You have Tiger Power buff you need to keep up. You have Rising Sun Kick buff you have to keep up. There is a buff also attached to Blackout Kick called Crane Zeal. That gives you 20% crit. You want to keep that up as well. So you have 3 buffs that you're kind of maintaining. And then after that, once you have all those buffs up, it's really a matter of Rising Sun Kick if you need a big single target heal, Blackout Kick if you want to AoE heal. And so those are kind of your chi spenders. The other thing to keep track of is Vital Mists. For every chi you spend, you will gain a stack of Vital Mists. Once you get up to 5, you can cast a free Surging Mist. If you are dedicated to doing Crane Stance most of the time, you'll want the glyph of Surging Mist, because what that will do is allow you to not have to target anybody. You just hit the button, it will pick a random player within 40 yards that it needs healing and hit them with that. And that is really helpful, just lets you keep DPSing instead of looking to see who needs heals. You're still going to have access to a lot of your abilities, Revival and Life Cocoon. Those are still going to be available to you in Crane Stance, so you can use those if you need an emergency heal. But the biggest thing that I can really say for crane stance is it's not an all-fight thing unless you're an LFR. A good Mistweaver will know when to switch stances. Even if you are in like a heroic mythic team, there are going to be opportunities where you can drop into crane stance and do damage. And it's going to be very useful because that helps you build up stacks of mana T, which you're going to need. But there are also situations where heavy healing is going to come into effect that you're going to have to switch out and go to Serpent Stance and do heavy full-on healing. I like to think of Crane Stance as your default mode, where Serpent Stance is your turbo mode, turbo healing. And so that's going to be the mark of a really good Mistweaver, is knowing when to drop in and out. Now, one thing I will note here is that if you don't have an actual team running that you're running with, Serpent Stance can be a bit of a trap if you're pugging in, because your healing numbers are going to be lower than other performers. And because of that, you may get the boot, because people don't understand how the game works half the time. So just keep that in mind. If you're open and upfront with the raid leaders as, hey, I'm going to be doing damage during part of the fight, please take that into account. You can try to get away with that. But I have noticed that happen. May have happened to me a couple of times. It's like, oh, look, my damage plus healing is 24k, and the other guys are 21k, but my healing was only 17k, so I get the boot. Okay, fair enough. That works. But the difference between Crane Stance talent and stat priority wise with Serpent Stance, the only talent that would really be what I call required if you're going to do Crane Stance is that Surging Mist. The rest of them are going to be fairly open to whatever you want. And so really it is just a matter of a stance change. It's nothing more than that. You just switch in, do your damage, switch back out. I'm sure that if you were staying in Crane Stance the entire time, you would probably have a slightly different priority. Probably a little bit more haste, I would assume, just because you're doing more, you want to do more jabs and get those in. So haste might be a little bit higher priority, but for the most part, you're not going to be in Crane Stance 100% of the time. You're not going to be in Serpent Stance 100% of the time. I hope that helps out. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us at show@monkmeditation.com. All right, anyone else have anything to add on that? Okay.
Don't ignore part of your spec because reasons. Try to play the whole thing, not just ignore half of it.
Yes.
That's
a proper Mistweaver knows when to use Crane Stance and when to use Serpent Stance.
Yep.
A Mistweaver that stays all in one stance or all in another stance is crippling themselves.
Yep. Look for those situations when there isn't much damage going out to the raid that you can hop into Crane Stance and build up your Mana T stacks. You need to know the fights, know the situations and times when you can do that. All right, and I want to talk about the All Monk raid team, because I can't call it the All Monk Flex team anymore, because Flex doesn't exist. But the All Monk team is back. It will be making its triumphant return next Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be running for 3 hours and doing normal high mall on the Alliance side. If you're interested, it is on Open Raid, and a link will be in the show notes. We do have the Alliance side. I know J. Dot will be handling the Horde side. I don't think she has that up yet. So our plan is actually to do normal high mall a few times, get our strategies together, figure out how we're going to do this with a whole bunch of monks, and then we're going to do the race again. So definitely join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I think was it Korag? That's going to be an interesting fight.
It's good fun.
Stad Brewmaster.
Yeah, I might have like 5 or 6 Brewmasters in that fight. That'd be hilarious.
I got the strat. Don't worry.
All right.
Just ask me about it, and we'll hook you up.
All right. All right. So let's talk recruitment. Are you looking for a monk for your team? We happen to know a few. So if you are looking, reach out to us at show@monkmeditation.com. Just let us know your raid details. We'll announce it on the show. So Burn Phase is looking for a Windwalker and a Mistweaver. They're soon to go Mythic. They're currently 6-7 Heroic at the moment in High Mall. I don't know what they are in Blackrock, because they sent this 2 weeks ago. So they are on the Alliance Tyrellian US. They raid Tuesday through Thursday, 11 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. or 2 a.m. And their main goal is having fun while progressing at a reasonable pace. You can contact Battlenet Crames, Krames, hashtag 1425, or check burnphase.net for the recruitment information. Fatal Union, Kargath, US, Horde side is looking for a Brewmaster. They run Wednesday, Thursday, and Monday from 8:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Time. You can apply there at fatal-union.net. Also, Release and Run, a EU server on Airy Peak. Connected Realm is Bronzebeard. They're also welcome. They're Alliance side. They raid heroic content with the goal of getting ahead of the curve. They raid on Wednesday, Thursday, and Sundays from 2000 to 2300 server time. They are looking for a Mistweaver. If you are interested in them, their raid leader is a little obsessed with space goats, so if you're a Draenei, you may have a better chance. And a recruitment success story. Who put this one in here? I want to toss it to them.
Duke did.
I put that in there. Bear Retirement Home, who you might have heard asking for a Windwalker last week, found a Windwalker. None other than our simulation crap genius, Hina Lover.
Woo!
So he's going to be raiding with them. He's actually switching from Horde to Alliance, so props on him for choosing the correct side.
But Alliance doesn't have blood elves.
It's a lie. He's lying to you guys.
They don't have blood elves, though.
We kicked him off the show. He's not really, it wasn't really a choice, but he's Horde. We can't allow that. Now, we cannot promise you that when you advertise with us, you will get Hina Lover every single time, because, let's face it, server transfer costs are kind of expensive, and there's only one of him. But let us know if you want a monk. It works, and we know a few.
Just a couple of them.
Definitely. We have a very awesome recruit with us right now who's been mistweaving the last few weeks. And yeah, just hope it should look, we're doing heroics soon, so we'll see exactly how it works. But, good on SETI. It's good to see him rocking things out with us the last few weeks.
Good to hear.
Yeah, always good to see more monks in there. So,
totally.
Rizzo asks in the dojo, the set bonus for Mistweaver, the 4 part of it will consume both of the stacks when using the T. So let me think here. That is the Thunder Focus T.
The 4-piece is Surging Mist Multi-Strikes cause your next Thunder Focus T to generate 1 chi. Stacks up to 2 times.
Stacks up to 2 times. I'm pretty sure that will use both. So when you use it, when you cast, it will get you up to 3 chi instead of 1. So that is kind of nice. So, which I'm think. Let's see. Yeah,
it's going to consume both charges.
Yeah, it could be an issue. I think where he's going there is like, well, shoot, what if I don't want to get 3 chi? I just want to get 1, 2 or 1 because I'm already up there. That could be an issue, but that'll be something you have to manage. I think. I don't think
it used to be like old Chi Brew where it was just 4 chi back on beta.
Right.
And it was like full chi bar once you use Thunder Focus T. Get some mileage out of it. Not anymore, though.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Because the fact that it stacks up to 2 times and will give up to 2 charges,
right,
means that the next time you do a Surging Mist Multi-Strike, you now have 2 of this, which will give you 2 chi on your next Thunder Focus T. And that tends to be how things, if something has charges, you'll consume 1 at a time. If something has stacks, you'll consume them all.
Charges would be way too mechanics heavy for that. That'd be really weird.
It would be.
Roll is a very complicated mechanic.
Right. Yeah, but it's not charges of
it's
Thunder
not a
Focus
buff.
T.
You're looking in the corner to go, how many of these do I have right now? Because
It's
you're talking
also
about writing a new weak core.
It would be really awesome if the set bonus was 2 charges of Thunder Focus T. That would be kind of cool. But this is it's not like that. So it's going to be when you pop it, you'll get 3 if you have 2 stacks, or 2 if you have 2 stack or 1 stack. So, and let's see. Yarvillain in the dojo asks, "Hey Air, what is your favorite cereal and why is it Life?"
It's kind of funny.
Air, if you want me to. I am his raid leader, and I will make sure he never gets loot again.
No, I answered truthfully. I don't eat a lot of cereal, actually. I do eat muesli every now and then, but living in Japan the last 3.5 years...
Sound bacon.
No. So this is I went to an American sports bar for the Super Bowl. They had a breakfast buffet, and I had real salty, proper bacon, and it was amazing. So
the thing I always missed when I was in Japan was turkey. Turkey was
that's
so
hard to
to
find as well.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
I do eat a lot of rice, surprisingly.
Yeah, rice and eggs was my breakfast. When I was in Japan.
Imagine that, rice in Japan.
Yep.
Yeah, I know, it's strange. So that's usually my breakfast. I did have a banana today, though, and some green tea. So thank you for asking, Yarvillain. Thank you.
Callie Monk asks in the dojo, pancakes or waffles? I'm much more of a waffle person.
Pancakes or waffles?
Here. Waffles, because every single square of a waffle is like a mini container for butter
syrup.
And syrup.
So
Doesn't need butter, just syrup.
Pancakes has a special place in my mind right now due to the ice cream incident.
I'm not.
And well, even at that,
Waffles win.
I just want both. Can I have both?
Nobody's talking about. For those of you who weren't, we will not name
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna win this. I'm gonna win this game. 1 second. This will take 2 seconds.
I like the
All
Belgian
right.
shoot waffles.
Look at this. I got this for my girlfriend. All right. You see this? Mickey Mouse waffles. Come at me. We get Mickey Mouse
Realize that if
waffles.
you ever bring that into our lane, hidden microphone inside of it will activate and actively listen for you saying anything against the Disney Corporation. It's a lot like Samsung televisions in that way, but geographically bound.
Wow.
All right, guys. I think it's time to put the brew away.
Yeah, after that, definitely.
But please rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, subscribe on YouTube, or on Twitch.tv. It really helps us out. And would you like to help support the show and help it grow and get even better? You can become our host by going to patreon.com/monkmeditation. You can help guide the future of the show and get some fun rewards along the way, like these wonderful people. Aleva, Shepard, who is a raid leader for Aims to Misbehave on Convert to Raid Azure Regos on Airy PQS, Wolfbide, and a friend of the show, Quillen. Awesome. You guys are all fantastic. I look forward to you guys bossing us around as our bosses, so it should be fun. All right, Air, got any shoutouts?
I do. So, like I said at the beginning of the show, this week I tanked. So, massive shout out to my co-tank and Brewmaster, Mazer. We spilled many a pint together amongst our enemies, and he was there to help you through the process. It was just a lot of fun. So, Mazer, thanks so much.
I loved
buddy.
what
Appreciate
Mazer said on Twitter, that you were the most happy and eager co-tank he's ever tanked with, but it's only because you've only tanked for a week and you have yet to develop the disgust for humanity that all tanks and healers have.
All right, Daikatsu, any shoutouts?
Boatsenhausen!
Woot!
We're going to hit heroic hard this week. Let's get that done, guys. Mythic calls.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention on earlier in the show. Yeah, Rectified. We're 1 of 7 now, and we spent the rest of the raid wiping to Orgoger. Hate that guy. Ogre.
Is that 1 of 7 heroic? Or
Yeah, 1 of 7
I'm
heroic.
going to get people.
Okay.
I am going to get people to change Ogre or Gorger to Ogre.
See, I
Thanks,
just
Polly.
can't
I
help but
quickly
say
catch
it. Orgoger. Orgoger.
Ogre.
Word
Ogre.
origin.
Yeah.
Ogre.
LeBlue, any shoutouts?
Actually, obviously to my raid team, Premeditated, as awesome as we are within the US, don't look at world rankings, please. And a special one to my GM, who might be going Brewmaster for this tier, because Brewmasters.
Go Brewmasters.
He had to pip. I showed him the way of energy management on a Brewmaster, and
he froze.
And we'll never know.
Get that screen cap.
Yeah, that's a screen cap opportunity right there. I'm going to leave that up for a little bit.
That's Dubs are talking about too,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yup.
All right, Guanshu.
Wow.
Well, for those of you who still want to hear me talk, every Monday after Monk Meditation goes down, I will still be doing the Nexus podcast. It's about Heroes of the Storm, the hero brawler from Blizzard Entertainment. We're just moving to Mondays, actually starting next week. So it'll be Monk Meditation, then that. Then, after that, at roughly around 10 o'clock, you can catch me on a new show that's actually starting tonight at twitch.tv/D20Crit Gaming. That is Geek or Die.
Oh.
So you can come
I'm
and hang out
invited to
there.
that one as a co-host sometime, right?
Well, so how the show's gonna real quick. How it works is me, Rillandune, and Will each bring one topic that we talk about, and we're gonna have a guest every week that also brings a topic. And so that fourth chair is going to move around every week.
Yes,
so
I
we got some new
expect
people
to be on
some fun
sometime.
Stuff. Yep, for sure. So
Awesome.
check it out. Episode number 1 is tonight.
Fantastic. What was that Twitch again?
Twitch.tv/D20Crit Gaming.
D20.
So that's like
Gaming.
the D20 Creative Alliance official Twitch stream. So
All right, fantastic. And speaking of which, Catalyst Gaming Media, our brethren that we have been partnered with for a while now, has merged with D20 Crit. So it is now D20 Catalyst Entertainment or something like that. And so...
the D20 Creative Alliance.
Creative Alliance, that's right. So we will be...
No, it's not the Creative Horde.
Right. Creative Alliance.
We're having discussions about that.
So what this is going to mean for the show is very little for you guys actually listening to the show, but if you go to our website right now, it's our current website, but eventually that's going to be rolled into D20. And so other than that, not much changes coming to the show. We are going to be having some changes coming hopefully to chiburst.com, however, the home for all monks. So go check that out, and that should hopefully have some new stuff coming soon. And as part of the Monk community, if you have a blog, website, or person you want to see in the show, please reach out to us at show@monkmeditation.com. The Monk community is the best one in the world of Warcraft, and we want to showcase it. Duke, how can the dojo best reach us?
You can find us on Twitter. You can follow the show at monk_meditation. Follow Chai Tea at WowMonk. Air can be found at Airwalker. I can be found at Daikatsu CTR, no underscore. Guanshu is at Geek of Random. And LeBlue is found at Kagarai_LeBlue.
Thank you all for listening. You can watch us live Monday, February 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 100 UTC at twitch.tv/WildMonk. You can also visit monkmeditation.com for links to all the ways to watch and listen to the show. That wraps up this episode of Monk Meditation.
May your brews be strong and your heart stronger.
Good night, everybody.
I rolled a 20.